The bathroom miracle. Marta was 7 years old when something extraordinary happened. At that time, she was a happy and lively child who spent her days playing and exploring the surroundings of the family farm in a small town in the interior of Minas Gerais, Brazil. Marta's family was united and happy, living a calm life full of good times. One day, while playing alone in her room, Marta felt a shiver run through her body. Initially, she thought it was just the wind coming in through the open window, but when she turned around, she saw something she would never forget. There, before her, was the spirit of her grandfather, who had passed away 2 years earlier. He didn't say anything, just gave her a modest smile, one of those comforting smiles that Marta remembered so well. And then, as quickly as he had appeared, he disappeared. Marta told her parents what she had seen, but they attributed the vision to a child's fertile imagination. However, Marta knew that what she had seen was real. That experience left a deep impression on her, and although she tried to move on like any child, she never forgot her grandfather's visit. 7 years have passed and Marta was a blonde-haired, bright-eyed teenager famous for her kindness and courage. On a leisurely day at the family farm, Marta decided to walk around the riverbank, trying to identify beautiful collectible stones. It was a river that crossed the property and beautiful colored stones often appeared. The river was a place of many happy memories, but that day, it would become the scene of a tragic event. While playing on the riverbank, Marta slipped and fell into the water, hitting her head on a pile of rocks. The impact was strong enough to make her faint. Slowly, his body began to sink into the cold waters of the river. Hours later, her cousins, one aged 16 and the other 14, found her floating. Desperate, they ran to call their parents. The entire family arrived at the scene quickly and, with great difficulty, managed to remove Marta from the water. The scene was desolate. Marta was unconscious, with purple skin and static eyes, as well as a small cut on her head. While some ran desperately from one side to the other, others called for help. After about 50 minutes, a fire department rescue helicopter arrived at the scene. In that region, if they had come by car, it would have taken even longer, as access was complicated. The firefighters, upon examining Marta, concluded from their experience that she was already dead. However, they proceeded with the first care, performing cardiac massage and other attempts at resuscitation, before taking her to the nearest hospital, accompanied by her sister and father. Marta's mother, completely devastated, remained behind, not knowing what to do or think. At the hospital, while Marta was under medical care, her younger sister, Matilda, ran to the nearest bathroom. Kneeling on the floor and crying, she said a fervent prayer to God. "My beloved Jesus, my sister is the kindest person I know. She treats our animals on the farm so well, protects me from my biggest nighttime fears, and always shows courage, even if she doesn't have it at some point. She is a gift that you gave me, and I cannot go on without her. I really want to believe that you really are listening to me, and if you are, I want a sign. I want the lights in this bathroom to flicker." Surprisingly, his signal was answered. Not only did the bathroom lights flicker, but the entire small town was without lighting for a few seconds and then came back on. Matilda only realized that the entire city had blinked moments later when she heard comments from people in the hospital corridors. At that moment, she began to cry and thank God for the sign, which filled her with faith that a miracle could happen. Soon after, 3 doctors came out of the intensive care room perplexed to communicate something to Marta and Matilda's father. The father, clearly desperate, saw the doctors approaching and immediately asked, "And my girl?" As she knelt on the floor, Matilda held her father's arm and exclaimed, "Dad, she's alive." He said this with the certainty of faith and the sign he had received. One of the doctors knelt in front of the girl's father, held his face with both hands, and declared emotionally, "Sir, I have been in the profession for 24 years, and this is the first time I have seen someone come back from death." The father and Matilda collapsed on the floor crying and thanking God for the miracle. 3 days later, Marta opened her eyes in the hospital, confused and weak, but alive. Doctors could not explain how she had survived, considering the time she had spent submerged without vital signs. For days after all this happened, Marta was discharged and returned home. The family welcomed her to a party with a lot of emotion. That same night, Marta looked for her sister and found her alone on the porch at the back of the house, thoughtful but serene. Upon noticing her sister approaching, Matilda stretched out her arms to hug her and declared, "I need to tell you something, my sister." Marta, curious, paid attention to whatever her sister had to say. Then, Matilda, in a low voice, said, "The day you fell, I saw Grandpa. I was playing near the treehouse, and he came out from behind a tree and told me that I would see the power of God in our family, but that would only happen if I participated in it with faith. At the time, I was paralyzed and didn't understand, but I didn't feel scared. I just remained static. Soon he disappeared into the trees. That's when I realized that everyone was screaming for help. I ran to see what was happening and saw you in that situation. I learned that our faith is our greatest connection to our Creator, and more than ever, I now know that nothing is impossible with Him." Marta was silent for a few moments, processing her sister's words. Then, she hugged Matilda tightly, feeling more grateful and blessed than ever. The experience, although traumatic, had further strengthened the family's bonds and their faith. Marta's story quickly spread throughout the small town and beyond. Many came to see the girl who had survived against all odds, and the community's faith was renewed. Marta continued her life with a new purpose, determined to live according to the faith and gratitude she had found. His story became a symbol of hope and miracle for many, and the small town in Minas Gerais was never the same again. Life went on, but Marta's miracle was engraved in the hearts of everyone who heard about that extraordinary day, reminding everyone of the power of faith and God's unwavering love. And so, Marta's miracle not only saved one life, but also transformed many others, leaving a legacy of hope, faith, and gratitude. Many people still know this story today as Marta's miracle, but the truth is that this impressive story happened after a little girl closed the doors of a somewhat unexpected place and knelt on the cold floor of that place. Therefore, I like to remember this lesson of faith as the bathroom miracle.